Minecraft is an enormous and expansive game built on surprisingly simple mechanics, but with a lack of tutorials, it can be confusing for many newcomers. Follow me, William Strife, as I cover the basics to the advanced of crafting, surviving, and building. Welcome to the Minecraft Guide. In the previous part of the Minecraft Guide, combat was covered in all its glory, and the final thing mentioned was experience. While monsters drop the glowing orbs that allow you to level up, they can also be collected by mining some ores and smelting blocks. However, because Minecraft isn't an RPG, the levels you gain from collecting experience are used in a special manner. They serve as magic fuel for enchanting. Before explaining how enchanting is performed though, you should understand the value of experience. The power of the enchantments you can make is based on your player level, so naturally understanding how expensive it is to level up is fairly important. To that extent, the first 16 levels all cost the same. It takes 17 experience to go from level 1 to level 2, and it takes 17 experience to go from level 2 to level 3. This price is fixed until you reach level 17, at which point each level up costs 3 experience points more each time. In other words, level 17 costs 17 experience plus 3, 18 costs 17 plus 6, 19 is plus 9, 20 is plus 12, you get the idea. This is important because as levels get more expensive, the higher level spells and features of enchanting become increasingly cost prohibitive. That being said, keep in mind that despite this drawback, the possible spells that can be placed on your items are all worthwhile, and none are useless or negative. In order to begin enchanting, you first need to create an enchanting table, which is no small task. You'll require 4 obsidian blocks, 2 diamonds, 3 sugarcane, and 1 leather. If you don't know how to get these things, you'll need to watch the mining, farming, and ranching guides respectively to acquire all the needed materials. After all, enchanting is an advanced mechanic, and only crafting is covered here. However, it is worth mentioning that you, in essence, need 5 diamonds, because you need a diamond pick to mine obsidian. Anyway, first off, you need to make paper from sugarcane. Then, with the resulting sheets and 1 leather, you can proceed to create a book, at which point you can turn around and craft an enchanting table. With the table built, you can place it anywhere and begin using it. However, by default, it can only create weaker spells consuming no more than 8 levels. To enhance the power of the enchanting table, you need to place bookshelves around it, at least 15 to be exact. To create 1 bookshelf, you need 3 books and 6 wooden planks. If you crunch the numbers to make 15 bookshelves, you need 135 sugarcane to make the paper, 45 pieces of leather to make the books, and 270 wooden planks to complete the bookshelves. If that seems a daunting number of resources to gather, then once again, check out the farming and ranching guides in this suite, as they cover in detail how to farm these resources. Anyways, when placing the bookshelves, there needs to be a buffer of 1 block between the table and the bookshelves for them to work. The enchanting table will draw knowledge from the bookshelves, and the strength of the enchantments it can create will increase. Also, if you have particles turned on in the game's video settings, you'll see runes float towards the enchanting table as a visual cue that the setup is working. That's all there is to maximizing the enchanting table's power. Now for how you actually go about infusing your items with magic. The enchanting process is actually pretty complicated under the hood, but on the surface, its functionality is pretty simple. You pop any tool, weapon, armor, or book into an enchanting table, and choose an enchant based on how many levels you want to spend. That's all. However, to elaborate, when you place an item in the enchanting slot, 3 random spells are generated to the right. What these enchants do is a mystery, and there's no way to find out what they are before applying one to an item. Additionally, the higher the experience cost, the more likely you are to get multiple enchants on an item at once. A feature that influences this is what any given item you enchant is made out of. The higher the quality of material, the more likely the item is to get a powerful enchantment, with the exception of gold, which has a particularly high magical affinity. That's all there really is to enchanting from an altar, but it's possible to further manipulate enchants and repair enchanted items with the anvil. In Minecraft, the anvil serves a few purposes: repairing items, renaming items, and combining enchantments. Before explaining any of them though, it needs to be stated that anvils are not cheap. being crafted from 3 blocks of iron and 4 ingots, meaning an anvil requires no less than 31 ingots to make. Additionally, anvils become procedurally damaged with every use, eventually breaking and vanishing entirely at some point. But this takes quite a long time to happen. Putting the hefty price tag aside, the first thing the anvil can do is rename items. This is the most superfluous of its features, as doing so costs precious experience. But it has a useful application, which will be covered in a moment. First though, repair. Repairing items is the main purpose of the anvil. All items in Minecraft that have durability can be repaired in your inventory by simply combining 2 items made of the same materials. However, this method of repair does not preserve any enchantments on items. This is what the anvil is for. You can use it to combine any enchanted item with the material it's made of, or an unenchanted tool made of the same material, and return it to full durability. This process costs experience proportionate to how damaged the item is, and it also brings up the repair penalty. Each subsequent repair an item receives on an anvil will be more expensive than the last. This isn't a major problem in the beginning, but the rolling cost can become a very expensive hindrance in the long run for items that you keep for extended periods. However, it's possible to circumvent this problem by simply renaming the item. When this is done, the repair cost is, for some reason, reset, and the repair penalty is removed. Now for combining enchantments, which is almost identical to repairing items. How it's done and the way it works is fairly simple as well. You simply repair one enchanted item with another enchanted item of the same type, like a stone sword with a stone sword or an iron pick with an iron pick. This mechanic is especially useful because you can also enchant books as a sort of way to store enchantments. Then you can turn around and combine the book with whatever item you want the enchantment applied to. This also brings up enchanting power. Various enchantments in the game have multiple levels of strength, such as looting having 3 levels and efficiency having 5. Normally, the strength of these spells is set when the enchantment is first created, but it's possible to increase the power by combining 2 enchantments of the same strength to get the next power level. In other words, you can combine 2 identical level 1 enchants to get a level 2 enchant. But combining a level 1 and a level 2 enchant will result in no power increase. As mentioned already though, caution should be taken when using repair, as every time an item passes over the anvil, there's an extra experience penalty when you try to repair it again. And even when circumventing this with the rename feature, it will still be an expensive activity to perform. That's all there really is to know about enchanting, how to perform it, and the materials you need. It can take a bit to wrap your head around it, but it's truly an activity worth the time it takes to pursue. After all, the effects that you can place on your tools can double the speed of the work you do, half the time it takes to complete a project, and make acquiring certain materials much easier. Additionally, with such power at your hands, it will be easier to survive the perils of the hellish dimension known as the Nether. Until next time, I'm William Strife of the Yogscast, and a Minecraft expert. I'll see you later.